Hello, 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 everyone. It is Talk Tuesday. Welcome, welcome to Talk Tuesday. Come on in, come on in, come on in. It is Talk Tuesday. You can share. Come on in. Let me know that you're here. Well, first of all, let me just say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this world, because we have a lot of people that supports Talk Tuesday. And so I thank you so much. Hello, it's my regular. Hello, Earlene, my twin sister. Always supports me. Thank you so much, Earlene, for logging in tonight. So yeah, come on in, guys. I hope you had a good day or you're having a good evening. It is pretty cold outside, so I hope you're staying warm as well. So come on in. You know what it is. It is Talk Tuesday. And Talk Tuesday is conversations of inspiration, motivation, and empowerment. And so I thank God for giving me the vision of Talk Tuesday. I thank God for giving me our guest. It's been 5 years for Talk Tuesday, and so it has been a blessing. We have people, all people come on for share their testimony, their journey. We welcome authors, entrepreneurs. Listen, we pretty much welcome everybody here to Talk Tuesday. Again, it has been a blessing. So come on in. We have another fantastic show tonight. Again, a dear friend of mine. It's been a while since we've actually seen each other face to face. But God gave me the vision, and her name came up. And so I reached out to her and I asked if she could be a guest on Talk Tuesday. She has a phenomenal journey and testimony that we just have to share here on Talk Tuesday. So again, come on in. You can share this Talk Tuesday. Please let me know that you're here. Comment, hello. Let me know how your day went. Again, Talk Tuesday. Again, it's conversations of inspiration, motivation, and empowerment. And so we are ready to empower you tonight here. And so, listen, I am again delighted for my guest tonight. It's going to be a really, really special Talk Tuesday. So come on in. She is backstage waiting to come on. So again, Talk Tuesday is just an hour. So we want to get started with our guest. Let's see. There we go. So tonight, again, I have a good friend of mine. And again, it's been a while since we've seen each other. And tonight we bring to you Michelle Walters Johnson. And Michelle is so funny. I'm gonna wait till she comes on, and I'm gonna wait till she comes on. But Michelle, she is an alopecia advocate. She's a speaker. She's a coach. She is lady behind the wig, and if you stay tuned tonight and listen, and you'll understand about the lady behind the wig. And so, without further ado, I'm gonna bring my guest on.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Welcome to Talk Tuesday. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Thank you so much.
My privilege to be here.
Um, I said I wanted to wait until you came on. I just said a little bit about yourself, but we'll talk more. But Michelle, it's been years. It's really been years. And Michelle and I first met through my modeling company, J and Company Christian Modeling. Herself and her daughter came to J and Company, and I just want I want to show Michelle this, and she's probably going to be, oh my God.
Oh, Lord.
Let's get this out the way. Look, y'all. Oh
Oh, Lord.
my goodness. Y'all can tell that was back in the day.
Oh,
And
my
so
God.
I wanted to show you that picture, just as a flashback. But again, thank you so much for coming on Talk Tuesday tonight.
Oh my God. Thank you.
It's a really, really special Talk Tuesday. And so let's get started. Our viewers, tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Michelle Walters Johnson, and I am the lady behind the wig. And at Lady Behind the Wig, we seek to empower and educate and sometimes entertain women who are on the alopecia spectrum. My mission is to help build women's confidence,
Mhm.
because I was a person that, regardless of alopecia, before alopecia ever came into my life, I was a person that struggled a lot with my self-esteem, which is really why I met you, how God set it up for me to meet you, because I was going through a stage where I was building up my self-esteem,
Ah,
and I wanted to bring my daughter along, and I didn't want my daughter to feel the way I felt
oh,
about my.
wow.
So I was so excited and happy to be
Yeah.
a part of your model team, because you
Mhm.
taught those young girls self-esteem, you taught them
Yes.
how to walk, you taught them how to conduct
Yes.
themselves, and it
Hmm.
was all a part of God's plan, because girl, even now she's got way more self-esteem than I have. I'll be talking to her, I'll be like, dang.
And that's what J and Company was about. We build, train, and develop from the inside out. And so, and not knowing, people came to J and Company for many, many reasons. A lot of them, yeah, we're dealing with self-esteem. As myself, growing up dealing with self-esteem because of circumstances that was out of my control. And so, I really thank God for directing me your way. I know you're not on social media that much,
Yeah.
but your story, I was just compelled to, like, oh, I gotta invite Michelle. You didn't say no. Nobody says no to Talk Tuesday, but you accepted the invitation. And so
Yeah.
I think this topic is one that is, I always say, that is necessary, because we do have a lot of people that do suffer with alopecia. I do want to ask now, what is it, for those that don't know, or assume this is what it is? What is it?
Yeah, alopecia in its simplest definition is hair
Mm.
loss.
Okay.
Um, so there are people who may not even consider themselves to have alopecia just because, oh, I just got a little bald spot. It's been there
Yeah.
for years or whatever like that. You have alopecia. Um,
Mhm.
and at least from how it's been diagnosed and have been told and trained to me, like, you have alopecia. So that little child that you may see, maybe they're not bald headed because they, again, may just have a little spot
Yeah.
or just have different little spots in their head. That's alopecia. It's really just
Mhm.
hair loss. And what happens a lot of time in the more extreme forms, it's really like your body's immune system attacking itself, because it's
Mm.
like telling it not to grow hair, and it doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense. And the funny part is, you still grow hair. There are
Yeah.
different types of alopecia. I'm
Right.
not going to sit here and pretend that I know all of the different types, or that
Yeah.
I can remember all of the types. But like, the one that is most common, especially amongst African American women, is alopecia areata. A lot of
uh,
us have, well, I say us, but technically I don't have areata, but a lot of people have it because of the weaves and the wigs and stuff that we
uh,
wear. It's sometimes just the friction of the
mhm.
wigs rubbing on your head that could be, can cause hair loss around the edges, the thinning edges.
Mhm.
Um, then there are people who have, like, maybe from doing the extensions or the braids or putting your hair in ponytail. And I want to say, it's not that you shouldn't do those things. It's
Yeah.
not that you can't do them. But when you're doing them all the time,
Yeah.
constantly pulling that tension in the same place all the
Hmm.
time, that's what's
Hmm.
going to cause the hair loss and the thinning. And then there's alopecia universalis, which is like all
Okay.
over. You can use your eyebrows, lose your eyelashes,
Yeah.
all the hair off of your body,
Hmm.
which can cause problems in itself. Because can you imagine if you don't really have anything to fight the dust from getting into your eyes? Like, that's
Hmm.
a lot of times people don't realize, like, what is the point of my eyelash? But they do
Yeah.
also,
They do.
and
They do
eyebrows,
have
they
a
serve a
function,
purpose.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the kind that I have, I promised myself that I was going to write it down so I could say it correctly. And hopefully, I know I have it in my old notes, so hopefully it will come up. But I have what is called CCCA.
Mm.
And yeah, it's there's so many different types. So
Yeah.
I have what is called CCCA, and with the type that I have, it starts in the top of your head. and
Okay.
it's like it forms a circle and it just spreads and spreads and
Mhm.
spreads. And I did have like, I do remember having like a little bald spot here, and that was like, but it was weird because it wasn't when I was getting ready to get married, but like right after my wedding, I
Uh-huh.
remember just having like hair shed like right here. And then and then my hairdresser, she just really worked with me to help bring it back.
Yeah.
But then I noticed there's some other things, and we can get more into that if
Yeah,
you want to.
sure.
So
Absolutely.
I noticed this was back in the 90s now.
Yeah,
I
when did you first notice like losing hair?
I didn't so I will say this, I didn't really even notice that I was losing hair. That was
Mm.
the weird part about it. I
Mhm.
wanna say it was around 1998, and the reason I remember this is because my mother, actually, it was probably 1996. My mother and my father came to visit. My parents live in Canada, and, they came to visit, and my mother says to me, she's like, "Wow, your hair has thinned out so much." And
Mhm.
I'm kinda like, "What are you talking about?"
Mhm.
But back in the mid 90s, if you remember, we used to always wear hair in wraps.
Yeah.
And we used to do the wrap was very popular. And the straighter and and the thinner it was, like that was like a tight wrap. So
Right.
people I know who had long, thick hair, you wanted that thing wrapped tight and as
Mhm.
flat as possible. And it was just kind of like a sheet of paper. I don't know. It was just what we did at that time. And so when I see my hair looking thin, I'm not thinking looking thin like I'm losing hair. I'm just thinking,
Okay.
oh yeah, that's a good wrap, right? And I think I had
Uh-huh.
cut it short too. And so she was like, no, she's like, your hair's not normally that thin because
Uh,
growing up as a child, they said it was long hair, but honestly, I lived in Canada and it was very dry. So the
uh,
longest I think my hair was here because once it start hitting clothes
mhm.
and stuff, it breaks off. Um,
Mhm.
but it was thick. I had a thick head of hair. So
Mhm.
she was just kind of like, what's happening? And from there is when I started to investigate. But
Uh-huh.
looking back, I do remember as I'm reading about different symptoms, when I
Yeah.
first started getting my hair done, and I want to say again, just before she came, like maybe early 90s, I remember getting a relaxer
Mhm.
and you leave the hair salon and my scalp would still be damp.
Uh,
And I'm like, huh? Like, why is my scalp still damp? But I don't think
mhm.
nothing about it because my hair always takes long to dry. So I'm like, well, maybe we just didn't sit under the dryer long enough. But in my opinion, I was under there way too long. So I didn't care. Let's
Uh-huh.
go. My hair look pretty. I look good. It's straight. I love it. I don't care. So I go about my business. But then there was one time I remember where it would start to flake, like it was almost like it was pussy, like, so it
Ah.
wasn't just wet, like, or damp from like not being dry. It was the actual scalp when I actually looked was
Uh-huh.
kind of like white and tender and
Mhm.
pussy. And so I do remember mentioning it to my hairstylist, and back then they would put like sea breeze on your hair, so
Okay.
she would do
Yes.
that to kind of
A
dry
little
it up or whatever.
sting. Yes.
Yeah, that little sting. But I mean, I don't fault anybody because back
Yeah.
then it wasn't something that hairdressers really focused on. You didn't really focus on hair loss like that.
Mhm.
Like the older women had lost hair, they wore
Yes.
wigs. So you just kind of like
Yeah.
wash their hair, put the wig on it.
That
Nobody
was
was trying,
normal for them.
yeah. So
Now what
nobody was really trying to learn what to do with it or how to grow
and
it
did your
back.
mom suffer? Was it genetics or
It was
no?
on my dad's side.
Ah.
So my dad's hair, now he's completely bald, but my dad's hair
Mhm.
started thinning, I want to say in his
Mhm.
50s. And my brother, I want to say, shaved all his hair off by the time he was 30. So like, yeah, we started asking those questions and digging in. And my mother had a thick head of hair until maybe
Ah.
the last couple of years, and she's 80 now. But it was my dad's side that was
Mhm.
really losing the hair. So the hair salon I went to at the time, she was like, yeah, she started asking me questions like that, and we discovered it might be genetic, but it was coming from my dad's side.
Wow, isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
Now were you officially diagnosed, or did you diagnose yourself, or did you actually go to I guess you go to a dermatologist, right?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's so funny that you said that because I became lady behind the wig probably in 20 I want to say 2018 or
Uh-huh.
2017 is when I first showed up as lady behind the wig. But I
Yeah.
was talking about alopecia before that, right? Because I
Oh,
was trying to sell
really?
my wigs. I was Lux Hair by Michelle, and I was trying to sell wigs. But then I started focusing on the actual alopecia and supporting women and
Okay.
advocating for women. And that's when Lady Behind the Wig was born. But it wasn't until 2019. Now, I had been like bald way before this. I had been lost
Oh,
hair years ago. Like my hair loss journey started when my mom came in 1998. But like, I mean, that's when I noticed it. But I want to say
mhm.
I had shaved off, I had cut off all my hair 2000 and my son was born 2006, probably 2009.
Mhm.
Um, but it wasn't until about like 2019 that I actually officially got diagnosed.
Really, but even before then, you like your diagnosis. You noticing hair loss, and it is alopecia. What were like your mental state? Because guess what? This is our crown of glory.
Yep, yep,
And that
yep,
we think it's our beauty. But we know
yep.
beauty starts within. But what was your mental state like? I mean,
That's a great question. My
losing
mindset.
your hair.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I never, I honestly never lost my hair. Like, I wasn't one of those people. I heard people share all the time how they would find lots of hair in the shower stall,
Yeah.
on the ground, or on their
Mhm.
pillow. Yeah, I've had times when the ends of my hair were dry and there was hair breakage, but I
Okay.
never actually. I don't know where the hair went because I never lost the hair.
Okay. But some
So
people do that. They'll lose it
yes,
completely, or they'll lose it,
yes,
for it'll grow back, and you'll lose it, and grow back, and
yes,
you'll lose it. But
yes.
you still had.
I still had, so I had here and I see it thinned out. So I'm not saying it wasn't gone. I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like I was finding it in my brush or finding it all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would really notice, and maybe then I shed it a lot, was when I would wash my hair and as I run my hands through my scalp, I can feel the difference. Like I can feel
Mm-hmm.
more scalp than I felt before. As far as my mindset,
Yeah. Yeah.
when it first became obvious, like my mom pointed out to me, and then I do remember going to the hair salon, and I remember the hairdresser talking about it. And I remember that day. It was
Mm-hmm.
not a good day for her to bring it up because I remember it was like a Valentine's Day or a Valentine's
Mm-hmm.
weekend, and we were going to something with our church. And I remember being really sad. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just felt, and I couldn't even like really put my finger on exactly why I
Exactly what
felt
it was.
sad, but I
Mm-hmm.
felt really sad. But I will always testify that when I started dealing with it, a couple, maybe like the next year or later
Yeah.
on, my niece, who was my I went back, I did flip back and forth between different salons, but my niece also used to do my hair. And we started trying to do these different treatments that she was learning about. And she prayed over me. She literally laid her
Yes.
hands in my
Yes.
head and she prayed. And she prayed for my
Yes.
self esteem. And she
Mm-hmm.
prayed that I would not be hurt. And I will honestly say, since then, I'm not saying it didn't bother me. There was
Right.
definitely hiding involved. There was a
Yes.
lot of psychological stuff,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
never sat in my house and was like, okay, I can't leave because of that. But I know that there are many people that do go through that. So I'm not
Yeah.
negating that. I'm just saying for me personally, that was
Yes,
not my
yes.
testimony.
I have several friends who do suffer with alopecia, and for a long, long time I did not know. And I did one of my older friends. She's much older, but I invited her to come on tonight just to, listen to you. But she explained. She said, "Listen, I'm not there yet."
Yeah,
And that's okay.
yeah,
What point for you was it like, okay, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it publicly.
yeah.
What do you remember when that first time was, and how did you feel?
Um, so when I was doing the modeling, there
Yeah.
was a point where somebody asked me what my hair, why do I wear wigs or something like that. Somebody in the
Um.
model agency asked me, and it was her and I and one other person that was with me, and she
Mhm.
said, can you please take off your wig for me? I really want to see what you look like." And I
Ah.
took off my wig and I was bald under my wigs. And then the funny thing was, I had no problem telling people I was bald under my
Okay.
wigs, but I never ever showed it. So
Mm.
I told her that. So I took it off and she did say, like, you are so beautiful. You are this, you are
Wow.
that. You should just model. And she's like, you would get
Yeah.
so much attention. You should just model
Yes.
like this. But I was not there. Like,
You
it
wasn't
was
there yet.
okay to say it
Mhm.
and to show you one on one, but to like
Yes.
go out in front of everybody, I couldn't do that. So what happened though, leading for the reason I brought up the modeling was taking pictures all the time, doing
Yes.
photo shoots, is
Yes.
when I could imagine. One time I just imagined myself, like it's
Mm.
like God showed me a vision of me like doing a whole photo shoot bald, and
Yes.
that I could introduce myself that way on social media. I
Mm-hmm.
and I that's not exactly how I broke out. It's like I saw it and then I don't remember what happened, but I never did do that actual photo shoot at that
Mm-hmm.
time. But one day it was like I just really I was do going live on Facebook every Sunday and just
Mm-hmm.
inspiring people. And I felt like God said, it's time. You have to do it
Wow.
now. And
Yes.
so I that day, the crazy part about it was the day that I decided to do it, I had actually glued down my wig that weekend. So I was like, because as I'm getting ready for church that weekend, I like, this is
Yes.
what I'm gonna do, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm not taking this wig off. After I went through
Right.
all I went through to get this wig to stay on, I'm not taking it off. But technology is great. I had my phone propped up recording,
Yes.
and I had my iPad. And my iPad, I had tons of pictures because I always would take pictures of myself bald, but
Mm.
I just wouldn't show anybody.
Mhm.
So I took the picture and I kind of just made an announcement and came out and showed the
Yeah.
live, showed my pictures, and
Mhm.
people went berserk. Like I got so many comments, so many
Yes.
compliments, so many
Yes.
people. I even went to work and people were like,
Really?
Michelle. And I'm like, I didn't even know you watched me. I didn't even know you knew I was on social.
Did you feel like it was a sense of freedom?
I did. I
Mm.
did. I felt free, but then at the same time, it's just the weirdest place to be, but it's like almost like it's like freedom, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah.
this is amazing. I felt very inspired. I felt very encouraged. But then at
Mhm.
the same time, I was still scared to like go to work
Ah.
like that for years, even though people knew,
Yes.
because I just felt like I couldn't handle all that attention. I thought
Uh-huh.
everybody was just going to be like, Michelle, Michelle, Michelle. And I was like,
Yes.
I don't want all that
But
attention.
it was good attention, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
know?
yes, yes. And it was funny because I honestly remember years. Like I remember the dates. So that was 2018. I
Hmm.
want to say I actually finally went to work bald 2023.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the way I thought it was going to be.
Man,
It
what
was
you I mean, what did you think?
it
Like
I was so scared, Geraldine, because I just felt
yes.
like everyone was gonna be. I don't know. I didn't feel like anybody would be brave enough to be rude and be
Hmm.
nasty. I
Hmm.
just never felt that. I never thought that would be the issue. But I just felt like everyone's gonna be looking at me and
Hmm.
whispering. I don't know. I just felt like
Yeah.
I either had people who would come to me and be like, oh my God, you look
Yes.
great," or
Yes.
people would just talk to me like nothing changed.
Right.
Those were the ones that made me laugh the most. Like they didn't flinch, they didn't blink, they didn't say nothing. They just
Right.
was like, whatever, and like and then they would leave. And I'm like,
Do,
okay.
do you think when I would say come out and you show people you're going to work like that, did it give you like confidence? Where do you get your confidence?
It did. Because I think sometimes you do some things
Hmm.
and you feel like it is what it is. But then when you actually sit down,
Okay.
especially when you talk to other people who are not
Yes.
there yet, because it really
Yes.
is a journey,
Yes.
then
Yes.
you realize what you just did. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
for example, another example I had was I did years ago, I was blessed to march with a bunch of bald women, and
Ah.
we went down to Annapolis. It was for one of the Juneteenth celebrations, and we marched
Okay.
as a group.
Yes.
And as you know, I'm all excited. I'm pumped up. I'm there. I'm seeing all these beautiful women, and I'm like, oh, this is so
Yes.
great. And people are stopping. They're like, what's going on? Like, what are you all doing? Why are you all doing this? What's happening? And then we're marching and everything. And then all of a sudden it just hit me like, did you ever think you would
Yeah.
be
Yes.
down
Oh my
in
God.
public with all these
Yes.
women? Bald? And I
Mhm.
just started crying because I'm like, the shy little scared Michelle would have
Yes.
never done this.
I always say, and people have said this before too, that Geraldine, God already knew the plans while you were in your mother's womb. So he already knew, that we would be out sharing our story, our
Yeah,
journey, our testimony. But then often I know with me personally, I often say, well, why me?
yeah,
Why me? But I just go, well, I mean, why not?
yeah,
Why not? And I think with you, Michelle, it's like, with myself as well, like we're the voice to the voiceless.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
again, people are not, they're not out. you know.
No, indeed.
But I think your voice matters, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Which
Yeah, and
will encourage others that's suffering, you know?
right. And I was going to say thank you for the reminder, because that's really what happens. Like, even when you said, like, I'm not on social media that much anymore,
Mm-hmm.
I used to be on all the time. Like, I was
Um,
always either going live or posting or doing stuff.
mhm.
And I kind of got disheartened. Not that
um,
I thought that people weren't listening, because I definitely,
okay.
I mean, I would travel and people would pull. I've walked into stores and people have been like, lady behind the wig. And I'm like, are you joking me? Or I've gone across, I went to from Canada, as I've said, and
Hmm.
I feel like I hit a certain demographic, but I've had people come to me who are not within the demographic and say,
Yes,
hey, I've been watching you. You're so beautiful. Like, I love
yes,
what, and I'm not
yes.
saying this to pump myself up, but it was just more of like, okay, so people are paying attention. They're like, I encouraged my daughter to listen to you
Um,
because she had hair loss
yes.
during COVID. I encourage this one to listen to you. Oh, I enjoy listening to you every Sunday.
Hmm.
Keep it up. And so the reason why I stopped doing it as much was that life gets in the way, and it
Yeah,
just kind of
sure. Yeah.
became, it's kind of like, well, why am I doing this and one person's listening? But God keeps reminding me, if you do it only for the one, that's what's important. Maybe there's this one
Absolutely.
person that's going to listen and going to be blessed. And, I'm very happy for the ones that reach out.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege to help people. There was one young lady who lost all her hair, and or it thinned out so much, and she didn't know what was
Hmm.
going on. She's struggling,
Hmm.
she's trying to do all this stuff. Her mother was
Hmm.
not very supportive, she was not very
Hmm.
helpful, and she came to me, and we talked her way through, and she said, I want to go bald. I want to go bald, and I want to shave it off, and I want to go to
Hmm.
work like this, and I want to do this. I was like, this is what you do. You're going to get your
Hmm.
favorite earrings, you're going to get your
Hmm.
favorite outfit, you're going to shave it all off. I know, because she's in the cosmetology field. I'm like, I know you know how to do your makeup. You're going to eat
Yes.
that face. You're going to put those earrings on. You're going to get up. You're going to pray. You're going to meditate, and you're going to
Hmm.
hit the world, the floor running like I am so bad, and nobody can stop me. And she did. And she texted me, was like, I did it. I did it. And she posted on social media about it. And her hair has blessedly, like, has grown back for her. I don't know what was going on
Really?
at the time. Her hair grew back, but like, I was so, she was showing the other day flashback. I think during Alopecia Awareness Month, she showed
Yeah.
some pictures of like how she happened a few years ago when she shaved it all off. And I
Yeah.
was just saying, it's so amazing to see the growth. So I
Yes.
really try to encourage other women and coach them through the process and
Hmm.
encourage them to embrace it. Because like
Yes.
you said earlier, like, God, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I look at it in the cases of alopecia, especially when it's to the point where where you're completely bald. I
Yes.
almost look like God made you a light bulb. There's a reason. Like, nobody can miss you. Nobody can. Now, I do go most of the time. If you see Michelle, I have on a wig. I love
Yes.
wigs.
I was gonna ask that.
I
Do
love
you
wigs
do you still do you put on
all
your
the time.
wigs or you?
I was about to put on a wig to come to do this thing, and then I thought, Michelle, you're about to talk about alopecia. Why are you gonna put the
Yes.
wig back on? So I was just like, leave
Yes.
it off. But really, I will share this quick testimony about
Yeah.
that too.
Please.
After I did the march with the young ladies, and the name of the group is just not coming to me right now. But when I was in their Facebook group, they're always talking about being bald and being proud to be bald,
Yes.
which I am, no problem with that. But then in some cases, a lot of people will talk about how they're coming out of hiding, how they're no longer
Um.
hiding themselves, yada yada. Of
Yeah.
course, I totally understand and I do
Mhm.
agree, because we hide, like, we're like, nobody
Yes.
can see me, right?
I know.
But then I will say that I really, because especially during the pandemic when we were locked down, I
Yes.
said, if I come back out just bald, I mean, everybody changed during the pandemic.
Yes.
Guys have been dyeing their hair forever, or people who've been dyeing their hair forever stopped dyeing their hair. They were coming all gray, looking all beautiful
Yes.
with gray beards and stuff like that. So if I start going back out and I'm bald, like, nobody's gonna care. It's gonna be like, oh, she
Mhm.
transitioned during the thing. But then I started shaving, and I think I broke out. Something happened, and it was like, oh
Mhm.
my God, this is just as difficult as wearing the wigs. Like,
Ah.
I was really struggling. But at the same time, that wasn't the main thing. I just felt so, I still felt agitated, like, it didn't
Ah.
sit right with me. And
Mhm.
what I realized when I really sat down and I prayed and I thought about it, it
Yes.
was, I didn't feel like I was being authentic,
Ah.
because I love wearing wigs. Wigs allow me to create. Wigs allow me to show how I'm feeling. You can
Yes.
tell the Michelle's mood by how she looks. And so I was like, that's what when I'm bald, yes, I'm beautiful. Yes, I'm bright. Yes, I'm
Mhm.
shining. And yes, I can walk out. I can go to work like this. I can walk
Yes.
different sometimes. Like the other one day I went somewhere and I came back. It was so hot. I was just so hot, Jeremy. And I felt like I was crawling out my skin. I said, forget this. I ain't wearing no wig. I ain't wearing nothing. I went to work. I was like, this is who you have today. Nobody
Yes.
cared. And everybody's like, oh, I love it. I love it. Next
Yes.
week, I put the wig back
We're
on. I'm
back
like,
on, right.
because I
You know,
wanted to.
people tease me all the time, and they was like, Geraldine, oh my gosh, you didn't change your hairstyle up. You got a ponytail, you got braids, then you cut your hair off. But I think it's just how you feel.
It's our
Hello,
expression.
everybody. This is Talk Tuesday. I'm talking to Michelle Walters Johnson. She is the lady behind the wig. And so we're just having I mean, we're having a good conversation tonight.
Yeah.
But we're talking about, your empowerment. In reference to those suffering on the alopecia spectrum. And so, and we're talking about, because I asked you, do you wear your wigs? Do you not wear your wigs? But I think you look beautiful either way. But now, where did it come from? Lady behind the wig, where did that come from?
So when I started out in business, I was basically first promoting wigs.
Okay.
So the name of my wig company was Lux Hair by Michelle.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, I didn't really like Lux Hair by Michelle, but I just could
Mm.
not come up with what I really wanted. I was like, whatever, whatever. But one day I remember I was walking home from work and it was just kind of like the whole honest to goodness, it was a spiritual thing. It wasn't like oh, this would be
Mhm.
great. You're gonna make so
Uh-huh.
much money. It was like the Lord dropped in my spirit, lady behind the wig, because you're more than the wig. The
Yes.
lady behind the wig can talk about who you are as a person. You can still refer to your children. You can refer to
Hmm.
your lifestyle. It's not just about the wigs. And that's where I got that from. I really,
Hmm.
really got it from the Lord. It was like he was like, this is not just about wigs. So you want to
Uh,
show who the lady is that's behind the wigs. And
yes.
I was just like, oh, okay, Lord. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I speak to the empowerment. I do help,
Yes.
every once in a while, I still get people who ask. I haven't really been pushing the wigs not because I'm
Yeah.
against the wigs or whatever. I don't even
Yeah.
really know what's going on with that, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
my husband asked me the other
Yeah.
day, he was like, when's the last
What are
time
you?
you made a wig? What are you doing? And
Yes.
I'm like,
Right.
I don't know. But but I have been, I really want to focus on those women who are afraid. And I just feel like
Yes.
there's so many women who, even if it's not alopecia,
Yeah.
like you said, who may be going through the condition that you're going through,
Yes.
or maybe going through cancer treatment, whatever it
Yes.
is, we take those things and make those things cripple us and box us in and stop us from living life and stop us from doing so
Yeah.
many things. And so I really want to empower women to change their
Yeah.
mindset and to live their best life. That's really what I want to do.
I had to learn that, going through my circumstances, that how I felt like it was a burden, right? And it's so, God is so amazing that He takes what you think is a burden, but He turns it into a blessing.
Yes.
Just like one of our guests on here says her niece has been confident as a child. Now she is in the 12th grade. Congrats for your bold and bald. Thank you so much, Puddin, for that.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, because we suffer in many ways, did you ever feel like it was a burden?
The alopecia, no, I
Okay.
didn't. I
Mhm.
didn't. I didn't. I had, you know what? My burden, my burden, the thing that irks me, the thing that would keep me up at night is my weight.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
always been my thing. Even going bald, I remember when one of the guys at work asked me, he's like, "Why don't you walk around at work like this?" I was
Uh,
like, I said, let me lose some weight first, and then I'll come back. Because I
mm,
was like, my face is too fat. Then like I always thinking about my face looks like this, and then this is not in proportion. But I had to learn as I'm talking to people and I'm empowering them
yes,
to let
yes.
go of all those things and those
Ah,
wrong thought processes. And I
yes.
decided to show up anyways, even before I lost any weight, because I'm like, it's not about that. But That to me is anything that burdens me all my life has been weight loss, my weight
Yeah.
versus the alopecia. Again, not saying it never bothered me because it
Yeah.
definitely did.
Yeah.
But I think that the Lord allowed me to heal from the alopecia so that I could be able to
Ah.
empower other women.
Yeah. Yeah. I was reading and a few of your articles. You mentioned a lot of our struggles stem from trying to have that perfect image. And I want you to talk about, because you said, how do we take first steps towards breaking free from perfectionism trap?
Oh,
Talk about that a little bit. I was like, now, wait a minute, I need to know a little bit about that because I mean, after I looked at it, I was like, I got to talk to Michelle about that because often with me, I felt like I had to be perfect to kind
mhm,
of disguise, my ostomy bags. I had to
yeah.
dress a certain way. I had to be, you know what I mean? What
Mhm.
is that perfectionism trap?
I feel like, first of all, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we should not be professional or that we should
Mm-hmm.
not have, what is the right way to say that? That we should not have class, for
Okay.
example.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if anything, especially around Baltimore, I feel like there's a lot of people who could take some lessons in class.
Yeah. No
But
harm
what
intended, but
right. But what I am saying is that there are, first of all, we have to learn who we are and
hmm
whose we are. And I
yes.
really think in the society that we live in, 99% of our issues are tied to our identity.
hmm
We don't completely understand who we are or
hmm
who we're made to be. And a lot of times it's like as a young person, like sometimes you're not emotionally mature, sometimes the frontal lobe is not completely built, so then it makes sense, right? But it's crazy when you see people who are 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and still having the same mindset and same attitudes and same things as when they were younger. So especially growing up in a Caribbean family and growing up in a Pentecostal church, we had like strict rules and you had to always abide and follow these rules. And
hmm
I grew up a lot hearing, well, if you don't do it like this, they are going to say, I never found out who they are, but they are
right.
going to say this, they are going to say that, they are going to think, they are going to that.
That,
And I don't know who these judges are that are sitting up on some
uh-huh.
throne that made up these rules that we have to follow, that nobody knows
Right.
where the rules came from. I don't know who they are, but what happens is where it cripples us is a lot of times we won't move forward with what God has given us to do, with
Yeah.
that dream, with that goal, with that vision, because we
Mm.
want everything to be perfect.
Perfect. Right.
So we sit there and we're making posts for social media, but because
hmm
we think, oh, the picture, like, this is showing or that's not showing, or I can't
hmm
figure out how to edit it right, or
Yeah.
the sound, or it's blurry, or it's this, or it's that, or it's that. We can come up with a whole list of
hmm
reasons. Then here's a message that somebody else needed so badly. God is going to allow that person, look, straight up technology is you're talking, your phone is not even on, and
hmm
you turn on your phone and it goes right to what you were talking about.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that your phone's not listening. And I know this for a fact because my husband and I earlier today were talking about a concert coming up at our old
And
church.
it came up. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the reason I'm saying this is to prove to you that if you don't make that post, that woman or that man or that boy or whoever who is sitting there looking for something or
Yeah.
someone to encourage them, to inspire them to move
Yeah.
forward,
Yes.
if they're talking about it, God forbid, sometimes it seems like even when you're thinking about certain things, when you pick up and go to social media, it's there.
hmm
So what I'm saying is if I never open my mouth, if I keep waiting for everything to be perfect,
Yes.
then that person is missing out on a blessing. And I
hmm
think that's the thing. We have to, like, we're so self-centered as people. We're so
hmm
much about what I want and what I'm gonna do in this. And don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, we need sometimes to take care of ourselves first.
Yes.
But like
Absolutely.
we're so self-centered in our thought processes, and we keep forgetting that the purpose that God built us was to help one another.
Yes.
So I feel
Yes.
like we get trapped because we're like, oh, I know I could do this. I know I should do this, but we're
hmm
so trapped. Like I can't do it because it's not perfect. Or if
Right.
I,
Right. Right.
I had a friend today. We were just talking about coaching and stuff like that, and she said, I didn't even know this. It's a new friend. She said
Mm-hmm.
how she has this certification, she's done this and she's done that, but she was just looking at taking this other class. And I'm like, but if you already got all the stuff, why do you need
Like,
another class? Just
mm-hmm.
go and do the business. Like, go and set up
Mm-hmm.
the business, start
Mm-hmm.
letting people know, and start coaching. Why do we
Mm-hmm.
keep waiting, thinking we have to have 25 degrees and have to have all these things?
Yeah.
I'm even in one last thing and I'll shut up, is I'm
I know.
even in
Keep on
high
talking. This is good stuff tonight, y'all.
I'm in the higher education field, right? So of course, I was just telling my son this. My son, my oldest son, um, to me, he was like, oh my God, he was so smart. He was such a smart talk. He's
Mm-hmm.
still very smart. So I'm not saying he's not. He's
Mm-hmm.
26. He's still smart. But my point was, he was so smart that I was telling him back then when he was a little boy, I just knew he was going to be like, get his doctorate. He was going to do all these things in school
Mm-hmm.
because he is so intelligent. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's 2 years old and I'm driving down the street having this intelligent, full grown conversation with this
Mm-hmm.
little boy. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not talking to an adult. That's a baby. I had to remind myself, right? Meanwhile, he knew who he wanted to talk to and who he did not want to talk to, and be like,
Mm-hmm.
Mom, why is she saying hi to me? I don't know her. You know what I mean? Like, just so
Mm-hmm.
smart. Go to school, so smart. But then he
Mm-hmm.
got to a point where he realized that there was a system, and he realized, he made up in his mind that this was not, I know I got to pass my classes because my parents were killing me, but I ain't putting my all into this because this is not the way I want to go. Like, he already told me from the beginning of high school what he wanted to do when he finished high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept hoping he would change his mind and still apply and go to university and all of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. My child, he made me apply for him to go to university.
Mm-hmm.
He got into the universities and
Yes.
then he didn't go to class because they can't make you go to class, right? But my whole point is that in my mind, I'm like, that was a disappointment to me
Yeah.
because I'm like, there's so many people, especially for the African American community, so
Mm-hmm.
many people that fought and died so that we could go to school, so
Mm-hmm.
that we could have access to education. So I want you to take advantage. And I work for a school. That means you're going to get tuition remission. Go to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is I realize there's so many people who do put their back up higher, and
Yeah.
they build everything on the fact that I am Dr. So and so and
Yeah.
I have all of these letters behind my name. But if you strip those letters away from them or take away those doctorates and those
Yes.
degrees, they don't feel like they're anything. They don't feel like they're
Mm-hmm.
worth anything. And it
Mm-hmm.
has to be more than that. You have to get to the point where you're no longer waiting for people to affirm you. You
Yes.
must first affirm yourself.
But I think that's what happens on social media too. You know,
Yes.
people you want people to affirm you on social media because honestly, and I've been on social media for a long, long time, that people are pretenders. They're trying
Yes.
to be something that they're not. I mean, it's listen, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you too, do you feel like you want to get back out there again or back on social media?
Yes, yes. I'm definitely just even before we had this interview, I was like, okay, Michelle, this is what you said you were gonna do this week. So you have
Yes.
to do it. So I do have a podcast that I started earlier this year. And yes, it's excuse me while I fix my
Fix
crown.
my crown. And
And
listen,
while I
Michelle,
think it isn't
I had listened to a few. I was like, I want more.
thank you, thank you. So, like, excuse me, this has been like burning in my spirit for years. And it's like every time I open up my notes and my goals every year, the
Yes.
new year's coming, I'm like, Michelle, you still have not done this. You still have not done this. And excuse me while I fix my crown. The reason I came up with that name was
Ah,
because I thought about alopecia. But then I
yeah.
also thought about, again, as women, how we're always trying to do all these things. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like sometimes you just got to straighten it up a little bit and just
Mm-hmm.
get back up and pivot
Mm-hmm.
and do what you need to do. And so, yes, to answer your question, I'm going to be again promoting the podcast again, getting back on
Yes.
social media, getting back to empowering women, getting back
Mm-hmm.
to helping them raise the bar. And it's funny because definitely what the Lord even showed me today. I was on Instagram where I was
Uh-huh.
normally on Instagram. Like a lot of times you don't see me on Facebook I'm more on Instagram and then I would like share it on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But what was
Mm-hmm.
comical was I stopped doing it for a while. And there's this lady now who no one can ever be you. So she's not
Mm-hmm.
doing what I would do, but she's
Yeah.
doing kind of like the same thing. And the Lord said
Yes.
to me, yeah, because if you don't do what I tell you to do, of course somebody else going to come up
Somebody,
in the meantime.
yes,
Because these
yes.
women, they need this, you know. And
And
I
I
found out, I had watched her. I didn't know she was in Maryland. And I'm like,
really.
oh,
And I encourage you all. This is the podcast. It's on YouTube. Please go on there. Even though it's some older the podcast, still listen to it. Cause I was just like, let me listen. Then I listen. It's just the clarity and it's the motivation and it's the inspiration, and we need that in these times anyway. Not just if you're suffering with alopecia, or if you're not, or you're dealing with
yeah,
you have an osteomac, or you don't, we just need that encouragement anyway.
yeah,
Whether you talk about alopecia or you talk about life, or just that encouragement, like we need that. So I'm looking
yeah.
for some more episodes.
Okay.
I'm looking for some more episodes. It's really, really good, and it's
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you.
encouraging. And so,
Thank you.
when you came on tonight, before we came on here, and it was my fault having a little bit technical issues. I just had to hit a button, and I was like, I can't see you, Michelle. You were like, I don't know why, but isn't that ironic how we say I can't see you, right?
Mhm.
But then
Yeah.
it just took me just a
Hit a
button to
button
press, and there you
right there.
were. So I
Yeah.
just kind of feel like I see you, but I don't see you, but I want to see you more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know what your presence mean, right? Even when you walk into a room, with it how it lights up the room, And so I was like, beautiful, because we had not seen each other in so
Right.
long, and I was like, oh my gosh, which I love. I love the ball head. And
Thank
so I thank you for coming on tonight. It's been a good conversation. Listen, everybody, if you have any questions, put your questions or comments in the comment section. But I'm glad God led me your way.
Yes. Yeah.
And I often I don't question him, when people on my mind, and he's like, yes, and
Yeah.
so I'm glad that you came on, because again, it's been a while since we've seen
Yes.
each other. And so
Yeah.
I'm just looking for more content, because
Yes.
again, it's so much stuff on social media, and we need
Yes.
more of you, more of your story and your testimony. My twin sister said, I haven't seen you in forever. Glad you on tonight. Yes, I am too early.
Hi, Earlene.
I do have just a few more questions. Now, when you were going through the process, now, did you belong to any support groups, or were there any resources that you reached out to? I know you gave me a couple of resources. I am going to show them now. But were there any resources or support groups you went to or went through, or?
So it's funny because I did join www.nafe.org,
Mm-hmm.
and to join them is both of them are Scarring Alopecia and NAFE. They both are free.
Okay.
With NAFE, yes, they do have okay, because there is not a group in Maryland, like a physical support group in Maryland,
Okay.
then you can always go, both of them, you can go online and they have
Okay.
online meetings.
Mm.
Now, what is really comical was I did apply to be the representative for the Baltimore area for NAFE.org.
Mm-hmm.
But just as I got all my paperwork, my approval, all of this stuff,
Yes.
guess what happened? We had the pandemic, and that shut
Ah.
everything down. And then back then, in hindsight, now that I'm thinking about it, we could have gone to Zoom, but at that time, that was just not the thing. Like, Zoom was kind of just starting up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking
Mm-hmm.
about that. Fast forward, I am a rep, excuse me, or I don't know the right name for it, but one of the leaders with scarringalopecia.org. To be honest, they kind of like took a hiatus. I think something changed in the leader,
Okay.
and they're
Okay.
getting started back up with their monthly meetings, and they
Mm-hmm.
are virtual. Now, what's the difference? So SCAR, remember I said I had the CCCA,
Yes.
Central Citrusal Centrifungal
Ah,
or centrifugal alopecia, which is why I can never remember it because it's three tongue twister words back to back. But CCCA is also known as scarring alopecia, and
uh,
there are like different types of scarring alopecia. So,
mhm.
like I was saying in the beginning, many of us, most people are used to thinning hairline
Yes,
or
yes.
maybe different bald spots throughout their head, or there's just
Mhm,
thinning. That's usually alopecia areata. I was
mm.
diagnosed with the scarring alopecia or the
Uh,
CCCA, where it starts off in the center and
okay.
then spreads, right? Um, but the thing about it is, I also want to say to women or men, you see me right here, right now, and I am bald. But don't
Yeah.
take that to know that that doesn't mean that you have to go bald. If you
Okay.
want to, especially if you go to those websites, if you want to, okay, let me say this. When you go to those websites, especially the NAIF.org, no harm, no foul, but it's mostly oriented from what I can see towards Caucasian women,
Okay. Okay.
um but or in Caucasian men, as far as even who they will refer you to, as far as for products and things like that, or
Mhm.
wigs or hair pieces and things like that. Scarring alopecia, I can't remember when I looked at their resources what they have, but I know with NAIF
Mhm.
that's how it was. But my
Mhm.
whole point is that doesn't mean like everybody's accepted. They have conferences, they have different meetings and different things,
Mhm.
and they do talk about, like, I've gone to webinars where they were
Uh,
specifically for African American women.
okay.
You know what I mean? So it's very cool. So, and they do stuff where they focus on the kids. But the point I'm making is the point that I'm making is, if you move, if once you start to see spots popping up, I
Yes.
always encourage people, go and get that taken care of,
Okay.
and advocate for yourself. Here's
Yes.
why I say that. When it first hair started, my hair started thinning out, I went to my primary hair doctor and I mentioned it to her. Bless her heart, she was a nice Jewish woman, and she was like, "Oh, well, stop putting the relaxer in your hair." Now, she may not have been wrong, but at that time, the relaxing was the trend. We were not yet going natural all the time. So when I
Right.
looked around, I did not see my sisters with the beautiful twists and locks
Yes.
and all that. That was a rare thing. You didn't see people with the beautiful curly hair. You saw
Mhm.
everybody with their hair pinned straight. So I'm like, I don't want to stand out because, again, I didn't know who I was and I
Uh,
wanted to blend in. I didn't want to look different from everybody. So when
yeah.
she said that, it was like, it was almost like she told me to chop off my foot. I was like, "You're
Mhm.
crazy. I'm not doing that." She probably was right, like I said, but I'm not doing that. And I kind of left it there. But I
Mhm.
wish that I had pushed more. I wish that I had asked more
Mhm.
questions and asked
Yes.
maybe to go to a dermatologist, because I went to the dermatologist for my eczema, but I didn't go to the
Uh,
dermatologist for my hair loss. And the funny
yeah.
thing is, because it's skin, somebody was saying to me, it's probably connected.
Uh,
I have sensitive skin. So certain things are going to irritate me. So there's
mhm.
irritation. And the funny future, fast forward to like a few years ago, I did have a really good primary care doctor who tested for me for everything. She
Mm.
ran, there is blood work they can do. They can draw your blood and see, do you have, I don't know if it's a gene, so don't shoot me if I'm saying the wrong word, but like if you have the gene or the whatever that shows that you have the tendency to have autoimmune diseases. That
Mhm.
was the other part that was interesting.
Ah.
I don't have any autoimmune diseases, because it
Mhm.
is known as an autoimmune disease. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I don't have whatever it is that shows you have. And she tested me twice. Like, she waited
Mhm.
2 or 3 years and tried it again. Don't have anything in there. So the only thing I can think of why maybe I have it is stress can cause it.
Yes, that's what
Um,
when I was looking up information, it said an illness or stressful event,
yes, some people have had
overzealous
COVID because
immune
COVID
system.
had it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stress, medicine.
Yes, 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 yes. One of my friends are on here, one of my ostomy close friends, and she said, I love what you said, not being able to see her, then having to just hit a button or change a
Exactly.
perspective for things,
Yes.
people to come into view. And Shantae and I were estimates, and when you talked about that advocacy, you have to advocate for yourself.
Yes.
I thought that was very, very powerful.
Yeah.
I do want to ask, and you did just cover that with if somebody, if you think is alopecia, or you don't know what it may be, you're losing your hair, maybe in patches, you should, I guess, immediately go check it out and see what it is.
Yep. I think you should go to start with your doctor. If
Mm-hmm.
your doctor is being blasé or like, oh, like whatever, you just,
Mm-hmm.
it's stress
Yeah.
or whatever they're saying it is. But my
Yes.
thing is, I know that there's blood work that can be done. The other person that you could see now, I don't know if covered or not covered by insurance, but there
Yeah.
are people that work in the field of trichology, and
Ah.
trichologists they are trained to actually go through your hair, your scalp. They can even take a biopsy of your scalp and they
Ah.
can let you
Mm-hmm.
know what is
Mm-hmm.
going on. You could also go to your dermatologist. When I went to my dermatologist, I thought they were so cool because they said to me, they helped me with my eczema, but clearly said to me, look, you are African American. I am not. You need to see somebody
Oh
who's African
wow, get
American. And then
out.
she referred me to one of the other ladies in the clinic.
Oh
And I was
wow.
like, okay, because in the
Okay.
past, that's not what they used to do. They used to just be like, oh, well, like
Yes.
put this on it and try it and see if it works.
Yes. And of course, technology and modern medicine, it has changed so much. Thank you, Debbie. She said, great evening, Geraldine, and everyone. Thank you so much. Medical technology has changed so much, with this. And the same thing with Shantae and I, our products have changed so much from back then. I do want to ask, we're about to end our chat tonight, which has been a wonderful chat.
Awesome.
Um, Empowering women on the alopecia spectrum. Now you're also classified as a alopecia coaching. Can you just encourage those out there? Like earlier I mentioned in our interview, some women are not there yet. They don't want to talk about it, and because they're not comfortable with it themselves.
Right.
What kind of encouragement can you give them? Not saying, oh yeah, you need to talk about it. What type of, because you've been there, you have the experience over 20 years, you've been, dealing with this. What's something that we can tell them, whether they want to come out or not or talk about it? What can you tell them?
Well, you made a good point right there. Whether you want to do it or not, you don't have
Yes.
to. I
Okay.
don't think that I don't think people have to. Excuse me, force themselves to do anything. I
Okay.
look at it as this is a journey. It is
Okay.
your journey, and
Yes.
everybody's on the path going at a different rate. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
So I feel like if you're a woman that's dealing with alopecia and you don't want anyone to know about it, and you
Yes.
are very, you're prideful, you are proud of who you are and a certain image that you offer, and you want that to always be your image, but you have to deal with this thing. What I
Yes.
would say is, yes, deal with it, embrace it. Don't just
Yes.
look at it like this is something that is happening to me, but
Yes.
it's happening for you. And you never know. Maybe your job is not for you to encourage other people, like let the whole world know and encourage
Okay.
other people. Maybe their
Yes.
job is to stay in the background, but at the same time, your job would be to like affirm yourself and encourage yourself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's why I always say, number one, go to a doctor, go to some medical
Yes.
professional and get some help. Start off if you have a trusted hair salon that you go to and you have your hairstylist. And if they are not gifted or crafted or taught and
Mhm.
trained in hair loss, then
Yes.
see if they have someone they can refer you to.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, if this is what's going to help you feel better and feel good about yourself and show up as
Yes.
your best self, that's what's important. But the number one thing is, remember too, like I said earlier, our
Mhm.
purpose here is to help other people. So
Mhm.
if you don't get yourself to the right place, if you're not aligned
Yeah.
with the plan that God has for you, how can
Yes.
you
How
help
you
other
help somebody
people?
else?
And you
Right.
got to remember that's what you're there for. So yeah, I'd never tell people you have to do this or you have to do
Yes.
that, but I will say what you have to do. No, I'm playing. What I encourage people to do is to embrace alopecia. Take
Yeah.
it on as, okay, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to war against you and I'm going to fight this thing. So your fight may be that you're going to hold on to, because I know one lady, she had, I made her a hairpiece. It was locks, long locks. And her
Mm.
hair had gone receded all the way back to here. But sis was holding on to those locks. did
Oh
not.
wow.
Last time I saw her, she might have the picture I saw. She might have cut him off now, but she was
Yeah.
holding those
She
locks. She
trying
was
to
like,
hold on.
holding on. So she's like, "Give me my hairpiece so that it can blend, so people won't know because I'm holding on."
Yes.
And I'm like, if that's what you want to do, you have every right. There's and the
Yeah.
thing about it, Jerlene, there's so
Mm-hmm.
many options. Like the options that I see now, I would have gone in a different way if I had known that those options were out there. There's so many different hair pieces and different things that if people
Yes.
would have talked about it and let people know,
Yeah.
that's why we
Yes.
have social media. But if people had talked about it and let people know, maybe I would have never shaved off all my hair because I wouldn't have.
Ah.
There's so many options out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, sometimes money can be a barrier, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it's the barrier is really education and confidence and the desire to seek more information. So
Yes.
yeah, don't hide, don't hide, don't hide.
Yeah. I keep saying, but I do have one more question. It's been got look, it's almost time to go, but I have another question.
Sure.
Did you seek out therapy?
Not for this, no.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
When I
Mm-hmm.
tell you, I even with the support groups, when you asked about that, I
Yeah.
didn't have a physical support group, but did belong to some online Facebook support
Okay.
groups.
Yeah.
After a while, I remember one time, I know sometimes it sounds like I'm trying to be super spiritual and super deep, but I'm just thinking this is really my experience. This is really my experience. I was
Yeah.
part of this Facebook groups and I was on there and I was about to leave because I was like, everybody's always whining and
Yeah.
crying, saying all this stuff. And I don't feel like that. I'm like so,
Yeah.
and the reason why I couldn't leave was because then the Lord convicted me. He was like, you're not there for you. You're there.
If I know, yeah.
So how are you going to be a blessing if you leave? Now, mind you, I'm not on Facebook that much anymore, so now I
Yeah.
technically have left at this point. But just years ago, and I remember thinking like, "Oh my goodness, that's so right." Like,
Yeah.
you need to be there for other people. So you've been delivered.
Yeah.
You've been and everything. Now you have to go back and give back and
Yeah.
help.
Oh, absolutely. I always say, listen, Michelle, nobody can tell our story like we can. Our story is our story, our testimony is our story, but oftentimes our story and testimony belong to somebody else.
Yeah,
You talked about that, making a difference for somebody else, and
yeah,
so we're all in different places, and that's okay,
yes, yeah,
So yeah, listen, hey Rusty, this has been really really good. Usually when we have these good talk tos, I was like, oh, they gotta come back.
flattered.
We gotta do an update, but it's close to the end of the year. And again, I am so glad that God led me your way. Again, we had not seen each other in so long, or maybe this is a way for us to reconnect.
Yeah,
He was just telling me
yeah,
about his daughter. I was telling you about my niece. So it's
yeah,
good, really catching up. And I
yeah.
thank you for talking about your experiences and being an encouragement and inspiration to our viewers here on Talk Tuesday. Thank you so much, viewers, for logging in tonight. And so,
Thank you.
thank you so much again, Michelle. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you backstage. And
No
so,
problem.
give me a few minutes. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Listen, we could have kept on going. But I know the hour is pending, and Michelle and I do have to work. But this was a good talk Tuesday. It was really, really good. Again, I had not seen Michelle in so long. Herself and her husband, they are wonderful. And so yes, it was really, really good to have and to catch up to. So I thank you all. I have to always say I thank God for giving me the vision for Talk Tuesday and to just again bring inspiration, motivation, and empowerment. And so we have another Talk Tuesday on next week. Listen, y'all, I need y'all next week. I need y'all to get on here on next week because I want you all to I'm trying to pull up her. I want you all to listen to this young lady here. Her name is Ebony Harris. And listen, I just want to say she's on fire. I follow her every day. Ebony Harris, her dad, very, very good friend of mine. He's like a father figure, godfather figure to me. She has a wonderful mother. She has children. But Ebony is early childhood education enthusiast. She's a consultant. She's a mentor, a proud owner of the Learning Place. And we're going to talk about many things, but I want to my focus to be on the Learning Place. And so next week, 7:30. Join us back here on Talk Tuesday as we talk to Ebony Harris. She's excited. I'm excited. And so then December is coming. We'll have two shows in December. And on next year in January, we're doing a special Talk Tuesday. And we're going to be talking about grief. You know, whether you lost a loved one, a parent, a son, daughter, a relative, we're going to be talking about grief. We're going to have a specialist on. I wanted to wait it until the first of the year, the holidays, and some of us are dealing with loss, and the holidays are especially hard. For my family, I lost my sister a few years ago, but in January, we're doing a special Talk Tuesday. We're going to have several people on Talk Tuesday and a specialist, and so we're going to talk about grief, how to deal with it, and yeah, it's gonna be deep, but it's gonna be good. And so that's in January, the top of the year. But on next month, December, we're gonna have two more Talk Tuesdays. And so I'm excited. You'll see a flyer what's coming up in December, but next week I need you guys to join me next week and listen to another. It was an awesome chat conversation tonight, and we'll carry that on next week with our guest Ebony Harris. And so listen, that's it. Talk Tuesday again. I thank you all. I usually my regulars come on Talk Tuesday now, and so I thank you all, and I thank the new viewers that's coming on, and we got some new things popping off next year. Maybe a new look, maybe a few guests in person. And so we will see. But again, I thank God for the vision of Talk Tuesday. I thank you all again for your support. And so we'll see you next week.